Okay, I'm moving your table, bud. Sorry. Everybody's looking at me. Yes, they're looking at you. Now they're looking at you. Yay!
Becky,
Young,
when do your classes run? When's your next one? Like March or April?
what classes?
These.
For these, April. I usually have the director come in April. I've emailed her. I think I've made their office mad, so I haven't heard back from them yet. There's a rule that's not a rule that they say is a rule, and they can't show me the rule, so we're having a back and forth debate. So, and I keep saying, show me the rule, and they keep giving me statements. I said, that's not a rule. Give me a rule. Give me a rule number. So, yeah, it's on those goals and outcomes. So I was talking about earlier. You're good to go. Hey, hi.
Hi everyone, I'm Christine Herra. So we're doing questions and answers tonight, so you can start firing them at me anytime.
Okay, I have one really quick one.
Alright.
And I don't care what anybody's beliefs are, so I'm not wanting to start a debate about this, but birth control pills. Somebody just posted that they can't go, they just got Medicaid and Medicare. Because Medicare won't pay for birth control, Medicaid won't either. So, is there any way to get Medicaid to pay, or Medicare either to pay for birth control?
That would be one of the things I would advise you to file a state hearing for. If you disagree with anything that they're denying you, even a medication, you can file a state hearing.
Come on in.
Hi everybody.
Hi, all right, just grab a chair down there. And there's water in the window if you want to run the water.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So would it help if they were filing a state hearing for them to bring in the documentation from the doctor saying this is why we need this medication?
Yeah, they can also, a lot of times when they do that state hearing appeal, they'll reach out to the managed care provider, the Medicaid provider, and they will talk to them about why the medication is needed. But they should be doing some kind of an approval through the pharmacy, I would think, if it's medically necessary.
So, hi, hey.
You're not going to be in this room.
No, I'm not going to be in that room. So, okay. Bye, Joyce. So, anyways, my whole train of thought went away. So, Medicaid hearing. So they would call that 1-800 number that you gave me before, and maybe later we'll put on the chalkboard, the whiteboard, and file a hearing and have the doctor stuff with them, and they call them up. They usually do the hearings over the phone, correct?
Yes.
And okay. Do you have any idea what the chances of something like that? Probably no idea.
No idea.
It would probably be the necessity.
Yeah,
probably
there's so many factors that go into it.
Okay, but that's how the person messaged me. Okay, and the other person that messaged me, hold on, I don't see her on here, but anyway, she wanted to know and have you explain how the MAGI program, oh, hi Marianne, that's not a person, works. MAGI program, Modified Adjusted Gross Income Program works, and what can we do about these Medicaid people that keep denying and say you make over the limit, but yet their income is Medicaid, MAGI.
Because their income is from independent care providing,
yes.
You're getting denied to file a hearing. I think that I emailed you the policy.
You didn't? Yes, you did.
So make sure that you give them that policy and have them file a state hearing, and they can take that to the state hearing, and the state hearing officer will agree with them because it's in Medicaid policy.
Can you kind of explain what the policy is?
For MAGI Medicaid, it's based on the modified adjusted gross income. So independent care providers, their income doesn't count. So you don't file taxes on it, so it's zero income. So it shouldn't count towards the Medicaid budget at all.
Okay. Does anybody else have another question before I throw out another story at her?
What are the limits? She's on Medicaid, is not. No. What
I'm on IL waiver.
All right.
That is what I'm on.
Anyhow, how can we get her so she can actually work more hours without losing everything? Because I'm understanding that if she works too many hours, she gets dropped off Social Security, and loses Social Security. Her SSI, she also loses Medicaid.
Well, her IL waiver trumps her Social Security status, period. So anything, if she would ever get dropped off of Social Security, she's approved for an IO waiver. So that doesn't matter. That's gonna trump everything else.
So she can work more hours?
It's up to Social Security as far as her income goes, but I would suggest that because you are working, that you apply for what's called the Medicaid buy-in for workers with disabilities.
She applied. I'm getting confused about that too, though, because last time I heard from my SSA is if I do that, I lose my Medicaid.
No.
As long as you have a waiver.
You can have a waiver in the MBIWD, which is Medicaid buy-in for workers with disabilities. And basically what that does, it gives you a larger resource limit, so you can accumulate a lot more money in the bank. You also can make more money. It goes up to, I think it's, I don't want to quote it, but it's above the 200 percentile. And if you have a patient liability right now and you're paying out of pocket, it possibly could eliminate that or minimize it.
Because like I said, I'm getting confused by that.
Yeah, she applied for it, and when she applied for it originally, you were not doing it, but we heard that you're now accepting them again, because she applied, it was during COVID when she applied, and she applied for it, and
Basically, I was told by them if I did it, I would lose everything. If I did Medicaid buy-in. That's why
I mean, you're more than welcome to stop into the office and see us, and I can set you up with one of the long-term care workers, and they can definitely sit down and take a look at it with you. I can have maybe the supervisor over that unit take a look at it.
okay.
Who's your SSA?
Deborah Gordon.
Okay, I don't know. Have you heard of the stable account?
I've heard of it.
The what?
A stable account.
A stable account, yeah, I've heard of it. That's where she can put
Excess
money
money.
away.
Yeah.
But it has to be set for something.
It can be used for anything that makes you happy.
Anything that enhances your life.
Yes. I have a video on my YouTube channel I can send you. He was here last month.
September.
Yeah, we had a stable meeting here last month. I'll probably do another one next year. He was so good. He was awesome. But yeah, anything that enhances your life, and if you need your parents to help you with it, it can pay for them to help you with it.
I won't want to break it.
I'm gonna say,
So,
okay.
Here.
I heard about it when it first started out.
Yeah.
So what we do is she's got a college checking account. And the college checking account, the only way she can have it is just untie it with it. So we just watch to make sure it stays below that and find ways to
it stays below what?
keep down the.
And with the stable account, that 2,000, you protect that 2,000 by putting it in the stable account.
Right.
And that way, Medicaid does not count it as an asset. It will show up on your Medicaid form, it will say, stable account has $13,000 in it. You own it, zero accountability. So that is not an asset that counts against you for Medicaid.
How high can that account get?
$1,000.
Yeah, 17,000 a year, right? 17,000 a year, am I right?
So there is Dustin doesn't work. So he can only put so much in, like maybe 17,000, but you as a working person can put a lot more into the stable account because you have a job. You can buy stocks with it if you want to learn how to play the stock market. I don't care. But you can prepay funeral expenses. You can pay for Amazon Alexa because Dustin loves his Alexa. He gets Amazon Music every month, and that comes out of a stable account.
You can take a trip, and if you need help going on the trip, you can pay for your parents to go with you.
There you go.
So it's whatever enhances your life. If you want to go out to eat, you can have a preloaded card. You can take that and use that. You load it with stable money. You take it and go shopping with it. You take it because you need new underwear. You go buy your underwear. You want to go out and eat. You go out and eat with that. It's all to improve your life and protect your benefits.
All right.
I think it's 150,000 max, isn't it?
It's 100,000 right now. It's going up.
Every time the COLA goes up, it goes up.
And so, and what it is if you have more than 100,000 in right now, they tell you, okay, this is not a quote savings account. it protects your benefits, but you use it. Money goes in, money goes out. It's never meant to be sitting there and passed on forever and ever. It's meant to benefit you and your life. So you save money in it, and maybe you
It can earn interest.
maybe you're saving for a specific thing that Medicaid doesn't pay for. Whatever it is. So you have a goal. You save money for that, you spend it, you put more money in. It just cycles.
They don't sit there and watch, say, oh, you spent,
No.
you went out to dinner 3 times this week, that's
No.
too much.
Dustin will come home from day out and say, I want Mexican. I'm like, I am not gonna go out and get it. So we order DoorDash. Dusty gets his Mexican.
All right.
And he's happy.
The stable accounts are really great, but also with that Medicaid buying for workers with disabilities, you can have a little more than $10,000. The last that I knew, it's probably changed and gone up since then, is a resource limit, so it goes up substantially.
Okay, should she work through her SSA on this, who's telling us no? Or
No.
should we just,
No, stop in at Job and Family Services on the 2nd floor, and we can take a look at getting that done for you.
can she get the 2nd floor?
There should be another.
Yeah, there's a
Yes, we did.
I know that here.
I'm gonna say,
The
if
old
not-
elevator.
I'm gonna say, if not, you know me.
You gotta crawl up the stairs, girl.
I used to.
Now, the stable account has to be opened online. It's basically a
Right.
cyber bank.
Well, that's an eventual, right now we've got systems working, but it's,
Now,
Grandpa, where are you going?
I gotta go to the restroom.
You know where it is?
You know where it is?
Oh, you're looking
To the
around.
right. To
Good.
the right.
Yeah,
Sorry, you said something, said no.
to the right, and it's in there. Make another right, it's
Keep
going
going
back
down the
down.
hall, Dad.
You wanna go with him, Mom?
go.
Just right there.
Sorry, I take care of it.
All
Oh,
right,
that's
Since
okay.
he's kind of busy with both of us. If we needed.
Okay, the last meeting we had, we talked about being over the limit, since we're talking about money, and you're over $2,000, and you have 30 days to get it down, but only when you guys notify us that, hey, you're over the limit. So once you're over the limit of the $2,000, and Medicaid comes in and says, oh, wait, you got more than $2,000 in there, you have 30 days to spend it, right?
Yes, and you just need to get it down below $2,000.
Right. So you don't have to panic.
And really, we deduct the amount of Social Security from that $2,000, so it can be $2,000
$914.
Yeah, whatever their Social Security amount is.
So another question is a bill in front of Congress, I'm sure you're aware of, from Sherrod Brown, to raise the limits of SSI and SSDI $10,000 single and $20,000 for married couples. Okay, from the 2,000. Now he's saying that Social Security, is that not the Medicaid limits? What is Social Security? How does that go hand in hand?
Medicaid limits will always change with the SSI limits, so whatever the maximum SSI is going to change. Medicaid will change along with that. We get new standards, sheets put out twice a year based on those changes.
I'm listening to somebody message me. Oh.
what are your office hours?
We're open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. I would just suggest coming in a little bit before 4:30.
You don't want to come in at
last minute?
3:50 and
4:30.
spend an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So, that's where I'm here, she's been going to SSA, and has been the lead on this, but there's some of the stuff that it just, someone was talking about being able to run. She's been working for over 2 years, so telling them to go over to SSDI, some SSI, and they said, no, you can't do that, and no, the Medicaid.
Because apparently I make too much money, that's the problem I'm having, is I'm making too much money working only 17 hours a week. So I can get an SSDI, so.
Your SSI, I struggle understanding that.
Yeah.
And maybe those rules have changed because SSDI should go along, like you should eventually be working towards getting on that once you have enough work quarters, and they should be flipping you to Social Security disability, which would take away that need to watch your hours.
Yeah, I don't know, because I've been working 3.5 years. and I'm still not switched over, and the way I'm understanding is,
You don't have enough quarters yet. If you've just been working 3.5 years, it's 40 quarters. Once you've worked 40 quarters, then you can switch to Social Security disability.
And a quarter is not 3 months. A quarter is a specific number of hours, isn't it? Or a
No,
specific
it's the
dollar
month.
amount or something?
It's the month. There's
Is
4
it?
quarters in a year, so.
That's what I thought, but then I read another
Yeah.
article that it wasn't, so.
10 years?
So you gotta work 10 years to get to SSDI.
I don't know off the top of my head.
4 quarters in a year, that's
Yeah,
10
I believe
years.
that's what it is.
All
Don't
right.
quote me on that for
Oh,
sure,
that's-
but
he's just trying to figure this out in his
yeah.
head.
Social Security is, I mean, it's also changed a lot, and I could be pulling that from another role, which could be for people that have just moved to the country. But I would reach out to Social Security. Becky gave you the contact that she has, and I would reach out to them and ask them what's going on with that and what you need to do. They'll be able to tell you exactly how much longer you need to work to switch over to SSDI.
If you become disabled, enter before you turn age 24, 1.5 years of working during the 3-year period ending in accord with disability.
Can you lay down?
Yeah.
You want good to go to
Run
the
the
car?
booklet.
It might be different for disability.
I,
Yeah,
that's
Door's
where
open.
That's where it gets confusing, because
it is.
it's confusing. Her SSA will not talk to me because she is her own person. And so therefore I can't, and right now I'm not on disability, it's a whole different stupidity,
Yeah.
okay? So I don't get, I'm hearing the information third hand on everything. So if you're Medicaid, they're also telling, get me off, she can be on Medicaid and Medicare at the same time?
Right.
Correct.
How does that work?
Medicare, Medicaid at the same time, they, it's converts, it depends on the circumstance and it depends on the type of waiver, but oftentimes it switches to MyCare Ohio and they work together to cover all the services. And you would be on a single managed care program under that.
If you go on SSDI, and correct me if I'm wrong, or you retire disability or you get a SSDI, she is then eligible automatically to go on your work record and get SSDI. Bam, or if you're retired and on Social Security.
no.
No,
Okay.
he would be the first one.
Okay, you'll be the first
I'm
one.
61, but I've got to work to 70 to get her to 65.
Mm.
Do I understand that? She's got to be 65 to get on
Medicare.
Medicare.
Yeah.
And then, once you're on that, then 2 years after you're on SSDI, she automatically gets Medicare.
I'm hopefully not going to be on SSDI.
Okay.
I'm off for 2 months.
Oh, is that, okay, that's how it worked in my life, I'm just telling you that's how it worked in our life. Is my ex-husband retired, as soon as he retired, my son flopped over to SSDI. He got 50% of whatever my ex-husband was bringing home. And 2 years after that, we got the Medicare card.
Okay.
I have it that way.
Yeah.
All right.
Questions about Medicare and Social Security are best to go through Social Security. We don't know all of their policy in years.
That's
So,
part of the problem and part of the real fight I've got is there's all these little groups that know how they're little, but they all work off the other and no one knows what the other and no one will sit there until,
yeah.
you know.
And I understand that it's really hard. It's confusing for, especially when people go from not being on Medicaid to being on Medicare and they get bombarded with all that mail and all the different programs you need to select, and it's really confusing. It's difficult.
Now, right now, she's on my insurance. I filed paperwork to keep her on my insurance. They can get her off at 26. Is she better off running my insurance and?
I can't say that for sure.
All right.
Part of the problem is, she wears braces on her feet, and we were just told at the brace place that if she goes on Medicaid, they will not pay for braces no matter what.
Medicaid?
Yeah, because she doesn't walk.
That's not right.
So, she's just getting a pair right now.
I would call the Medicaid hotline and specifically ask them that question.
Okay.
Okay, do we have the numbers written down somewhere?
Because even if you transfer, you're still putting your feet down.
Right.
And you still have to say orthopedic doctor to get a prescription for your med, for the
Yeah.
orthotics.
Well, they did
So
say
I
as
would
long as
think-
I'm still transferring myself, that they would do it every so many years. They did say that.
Oh, the parents' office or
your appeals?
Yeah.
Where's Job and Family Services located?
449 South Meridian Street in Ravenna,
Okay.
and we're on the second floor of the administration building.
Say that address again. Write that address down, Nikki.
Huh?
Write that address down.
449 South Meridian Street.
I think say mom should know who she is. I had to leave when I got my hours cut. She wrote that I cut them.
So we need to get you on that waiver, we need to
Give me 1
get
second, I'll pull it
That's
up.
not your son.
On Medicaid buy-in.
the buy-in.
Maybe.
And then
And that's
also, if I do that, and every 4
It's
hours,
really 6.
I can put on my insurance.
I got it.
Cover
Right.
whatever, but I'd have to wait a year.
1866.
866.
I'm not rushing this, but
Yeah, but if you get on something that, if you start making more money, then it's easier for you to move out.
246. I have a number too.
All right, I'm from Summit County, so we would have
You're in Summit County.
a Job and Family Service. Is it the one on Market Avenue?
In Summit County, yes.
Yeah.
It is the one on Market Avenue.
That's what I think. Me too. Okay, yeah.
you want me to take some, because the other one she gets more money now. Honestly.
Does anybody else have any other questions for me?
They're still open, the one on Market, because they talked about, I mean, we do everything online pretty much.
The office, there's a main office open, but the workers are all working from home nowadays, so.
Well, I know, I'm
I'll be back. Come on.
No, she's taking him out. She has her own supplies for him.
We need to work on all too.
Okay, in case you're watching online, we're gonna try and write the phone number for his reviews on.
Yeah, I just gotta look for it real quick.
Huh?
I just gotta look for it real quick.
I need you to talk about transportation and go to
Yes.
medical and doctor's appointments.
Yes, so the program that I am currently managing is the non-emergency transportation program, and what that does is we work with vendors and we can do transportation to and from Medicaid appointments. Anything that Medicaid is paying for, we can take the client to. We also have gas cards available too, so if you are driving your child to the doctor yourself, you can also call in and get a gas card. We just ask that for appointments that you try to give us a 10-day notice. I know that's not always possible, but that way we can ensure that we're gonna get it covered. And for gas cards, it's 7 days. We ask that you give us 7 days for that. And we go out of county for rides too. We go Cleveland, Columbus if we have to, wherever the closest provider is.
Do all Medicaid offices have this?
All Medicaid offices definitely have this, and I brought, for Portage County, I brought some information for ours. It's a little bookmark you can stick on the refrigerator. But each county has their own net transportation plan. They all vary a little bit. Portage County is unique in, I have 4 drivers that work under me, and we do a lot of our own transportation, and then we work with HARDA, Emerald, Scenic View, and soon to be Hope on Wheels. We're just starting a new contract with them. So we do tons and tons of rides. It's an amazing program. I have always felt like it's like the best kept secret in Portage County because it's a huge resource, especially in this economy when you have a lot of documents getting a gas card to go to and from.
So when Albertson takes that and they take a person, they have to go into the doctors with them to do the driver? No?
And if they need to take an aide or somebody with them as well, then I know that we did some
Yeah,
for Eric. Yeah.
Erica had a doctor's appointment with neurology. I had just had knee surgery. I was not allowed to drive.
So you know how hard it is to get to a neurologist, it takes you months. I was not going to cancel the appointment. So I called them up, I said, I'm not allowed to drive, can you help me? And she hooked me up and we got transportation, take care to his apartment, I rode with them, they brought us back home, and that's pretty much how that worked. Okay, so as a provider, I have a client that has a doctor's appointment. Can I call you guys up for that gas card, say, hey, I have to take my client to the doctor, can you give me a gas card?
Yep, as long as that client is on medicine.
As long as that client, so.
Yep, and it has to
I
be,
think that's,
it has to be something on community Medicaid, so if the individual's like in Hattie Larmon, which is an ICF IIT facility or a nursing facility, permanently placed, then we don't do transportation, it's gotta go through whoever their provider is for that nursing facility. But even if somebody's just there for respite and needs to go to the doctor, and they're still on their community waiver or their community Medicaid program, we can still take them from the nursing home at that point.
so this was a situation that was brought to my attention. There is a client that is insisting on making doctor appointments outside her office hours. My suggestion was that provider contact Medicaid,
Yes.
get information on the transport company, and say, I no longer transport, here's who you call.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Yep, we can do that for sure.
That was my suggestion to them. There's more to that story, but we'll leave it at that.
I'm sorry, I don't have the number.
You don't have the
in front of me.
number?
No, I don't
Oh,
have it in
man,
front of me, it's on my,
It's in my emails.
If you send
I
me
think
the
it's,
number,
I wanna say it's 866-635-2348, but I'm not 100% on that.
It's in my, I have it on my computer. It's in my emails from
I
you.
had this conversation with one of my workers, because they didn't know it.
I do have it, yeah.
And I was looking for that.
1-866-246-4358.
246.
But now I have to find the
4358.
pen.
Thank you.
Oh, it's not yours. Okay. I'm
And
sorry.
then I have a nurse's number too. Do you want that number?
Wait a second. 1-866. What
This is for the Medicaid hotline?
Yeah.
Okay, 1-866.
Oh, here it is, it's, I was right.
246 4358.
4358.
58.
Okay.
And the state hearing line is 1-866.
I'm sorry.
866
866
835
835
3748.
3748.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the hotline. And this one is state hearings.
Yep.
Okay, so now, I guess you guys don't even know about Ruth written, really, do you?
Does anybody else have any other questions for me?
What's the disputes in the middle, is that a different? You
That's
have
state hearing.
that state, yeah, it says disputes in the middle, I just wanna make sure if it was a different phone number.
The state hearing would be if you were denied something, okay, and you wanted to appeal it.
Yeah.
And the hotline is if you have like an emergency situation come up. Can you talk a little bit about how the food stamp program works and?
So any child over the age of 22 is permitted to eat and prepare separate from their care providers or their family. They just need to come in and apply for food assistance, or they can call our shared services line. I got those cards here, and do that application over the phone. A majority of our disabled clients are at least eligible for the minimum amount, depending on some circumstances. There's a lot that goes into determining, but I think the minimum amount right now is $23. At least that's what it was last
$23.
check.
Can you expand on that? Because somebody asked me the other day, they said, well, my child who's disabled and over 22 and lives with them, they get $200 a month in food stamps. But then others, like you say, just get the 23. What is the...
It depends on if they're paying shelter costs, if they are paying rent, and utilities separate from that rental payment, then they get the full standard utility allowance. And that has to be gas and electric utilities, it can't just be like a telephone bill, they get a smaller amount for just a telephone bill.
Okay, here's a question. I never redid it with you guys. My son gets 2211 SSDI. Okay. He pays $750 a month rent. Okay, he gets $23 a month in food stamps. Is that the proper amount?
Yes,
Okay.
that sounds correct to me.
Okay, so what is the price limit of how much he gets per month, other than his?
So he's actually over the income limit, but because he's on Social Security disability and most likely a waiver program, then he qualifies for the minimum amount.
Would that be going up with the COLA?
I'm sorry?
Will that go up when the COLA goes up, or no, will that always be at $23?
It will, it goes up every year. I think it's about to increase again, but I'm not sure what it is.
Okay.
It goes up.
And he doesn't have to spend that every month. He can hang on to it and build it up till
Yeah.
it's big, and then buy all the candy bars he wants.
Yeah, and they'll send a letter before they're gonna start removing it, but we have a lot of clients, well, especially our elderly people that I advise them, take the minimum amount. You can save it for a rainy day, save it for Christmas, or so you can get a fancy
Yeah.
dinner.
Yeah, we heard we don't spend his $23. It's just sitting there for whenever he runs out of granola bars, and when he runs out of his apple juice,
Yeah.
then we just go restock everything.
Yeah. So, any other questions? I'm not trying to rush everybody, but
You were talking
working a
about,
very long day.
like charging me some for rent.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
And we had to get her started on it. What should I be charging her for rent?
Okay.
That's entirely based on whatever you guys decide.
Alright,
Okay, there's two ways you can do it. You can call around and ask, what is the minimum, what is...
Fair share.
You can do fair share. I hate fair share. There's no such thing as a fair share when you take care of your kid. I'm sorry.
I know that's what they keep telling you. Do
Yeah.
fair share, do fair share.
So you can call around and say, you know, we're in a college town. It's very easy to call up and say, hey, how much is a one bedroom apartment rent for?
Right.
And that's what you can charge it. That would be your average, or you're gonna look around where you live and say, I would pay less than this amount of money for this room. You know, it's kind of up to you. I charge $750. Most people charge between $500 and $600. When you send it into Medicaid, I don't know who I'm filming there. Hi, say hi. When you turn it into Medicaid, Medicaid likes you to write it down and subtract out your utilities. So Eric pays $750 a month rent, minus $100 for utilities. Okay. Now you have to remember, I am not a tax pro. What was it he used to say that Eric said?
I play one on TV.
I play one on TV, but I'm not a real tax pro. Okay. And I said, you are not renting for a profit. Unless you're renting for a profit, you do not have to pay taxes on it. But I am not a tax pro, but that's how we've been told.
The most important thing to remember when applying for SNAP for an adult child in your home, when you're going to be writing out basically a statement saying how much rent that they are paying, you want to be very specific that they are paying utilities separate from that rent.
Yeah.
If that's the case. If you're including it all in one, then that's what you need to say. But if you are paying them separate, you need to be very specific about that so they get the full standard utility allowance. Because it increases.
So when you call Social Security, this guy sounds so stupid, they will ask you some important question. They will ask you, is she self-supportive? You have to say yes. Okay. Is she a part of your household? That's the main one. You have to say no. Once you rent a room to somebody, they are no longer technically your part of your household. They are their own entity. Okay, just like if you were in a college dorm and you had a quad dorm, you had 4 girls living there, you're sharing the kitchen, the living room, the bathroom. But each of them pay rent on their own little apartment. They are their own entities. They are each a separate household. So you have to say she's in her separate household. Then they will ask you, if a stranger comes down and wants to rent their room, will you pay, will the stranger pay the same amount? And you have to say yes. And it's very hard though. She's not a part of my household part, it's really hard. Because I have a cat. A cat's part of my household.
Right.
You know, it's hard to say. My son is not. So, but you go over there and ask my son, he says, and say, are you part of your mom's household? He will tell you, no, I'm her tenant.
Does that change her because she's under shared living?
No, my son, I'm not Iowa waiver.
As long as your
The
adult
way-
child is over the age of 22, before the age of 22, they have to eat and prepare their food with you still. And just based on SNAP rules.
Okay, because she started her on the IO waiver at 21, so that doesn't make a difference.
When you have to remember, Social Security has their own rules. Medicaid has their own rules. IRS has their own rules, and you know they're all compartmentalized. They very seldom kind of cross over. And it's really a hard concept. I mean, it's hard for me to tell my son, you're not my son, you're my tenant, you know? But he laughs, he tells everybody, yeah, I'm her tenant. And he also tells everybody he's my boss. I said, you know what, Eric, you may be my boss, and you can fire me any day you want to, but you'll be finding someplace else to live. So, but yeah, but that's how that works.
Yeah.
So then, going back to what you said, they pay utilities separate from rent. How do you prove that, or what do you do
You
for
can
that?
write that in a simple statement.
I've never had it show proof.
Yep. Just write it in a simple statement that my son, Dominic, your son's name is Dominic, right?
Dusty.
Dustin, sorry. It's okay. My son Dustin pays $400 a month in rent. He also pays $200 towards electric and gas. That's literally all is required by SNAP rules.
They just
As long
ask
as
to see your
it's-
utility bills and you just show them your gas bill, your electric
They,
bill. And
they shouldn't even have to ask you for
They've
that.
never asked.
Really?
Sometimes
Have they asked you?
I just showed them the gas bill, the water bill.
Yeah, it just depends on each. I mean, are you in Portage County or?
No.
The Franklin.
You are. I'm in
Oh,
Portage
that's-
County or Summit County. Summit County might have a little bit different. They might train a little bit different there, but in our county, we train them. We can just utilize the statement.
So you trust people to be truthful and honest, and this is what my electric bill is, this is what my gas bill is, my water bill, and
That's
Dusty
all they
pays
just
us.
Yep, and we don't even need to know what the bills are. We just need to know that they're paying this month. I mean, we have some children that are only paying $50 towards electric and gas. As long as it's being paid towards heating and cooling, then they get the full standard utility allowance, which allows the maximum benefits.
Because I never understood the breakdown on the sheet that they send, it just never made any sense. Okay, I will look at it closer.
What sheet?
The notice of action that they send, at least Franklin County does, notice of action on the back, it will say, like, how's that worded, like, we allow this much, or we're showing it, he allows this much for, I forget the wording, but, for his living allowances, but it just has like a lump sum. They've never asked me specifically.
They could be doing what's in your neighborhood, what the average household is also. And once they figure out what the average is and what you're paying, then they say, they'll call you up and say, no changes, right? I'm like, okay, no changes. And then they hang up in 30 seconds, so it's, you know, once you get it in there, you're done, pretty much.
I just need to be excused for my granddaughter is melting down because she's waiting for me.
Oh, how old is she?
She's 5. She's the crew, so she wants to be baby right now.
She's needy.
Yes.
The only thing I ever do is do that and give them.
So I'm gonna hold it down.
What? Oh, you did, you brought them? Okay.
Because it does say, if there are any changes, notify us, blah, 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 so I can
Okay.
just say, okay, explain this to me.
Portage County's never asked us any of this.
The only
No
things that I've
things
ever
like
got
that.
is the ARC asks for that information and I send it to them, but she's on an Iowa waiver, does that make a difference?
Okay, what did the ARC ask you for?
Are you receiving SNAP benefits?
No, I'm not
No, she
receiving
doesn't
anything but the
receive-
waiver, literally,
No, no.
nothing.
For waiver, none of that matters.
Okay,
That's
so is that why but
Yep.
if she would apply for SNAP, then they would start asking those questions?
Yep.
I mean, wait a second, the ARC asked you for, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the ARC asks for
How much
that
I pay for
information.
rent for,
Yes,
Year.
yearly I send them
And
and
her-
her,
Are you talking about the lease agreement?
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I had to do that for the ARC.
Yes.
I
So
told him,
yes, that's
Okay.
the only person that's ever asked, so that's why I was
if
curious.
Gary's watching, he knows I have a bone to pick about the stupid lease agreement thing. A lease agreement by rule is not required if you're renting to a member of your family. No, if you're renting to a related person, a lease agreement is not required.
So why do they walk in and ask to see it every year?
I have no clue. Also,
But they
My
said it's to protect the person, because if we die, somebody else could kick them out or do something. But if you're a tenant, then you have a lease, they can't break
Is that
that
why?
lease. That's what I was told. Now, that's
Okay.
correct, but
Explain to me why they want my son to sign the lease agreement when my son is declared incompetent. And by
because
law,
it
he
still
can't sign
It
anything.
still protects him. I guess it would still protect him from, being evicted. Or if you decide one day you wanna kick her out for no good reason, she can, she's got a lease and it's good for whatever date you put on there.
Mine says
It's more
indefinite.
to protect the.
My
client
date
than
says
the-
indefinite, so.
Yeah, so that's all. I think it's just a formality that,
I don't know, it just irritates me to death when people ask me to have Eric sign things and he's not allowed to sign it. And then they get insistent, well, you were there when I had that phone call. Who was it? Some kind of medical something, survey thing. Wanted to speak to my son the other day. I said, no, this is mom. I can talk to you. He said, oh, I'm not allowed to talk to you. I said, my son is under guardianship. He is not allowed to speak to you. You must speak to me. Well, I'm not allowed to speak to you. So I was like, okay, I guess you're not going to talk to any of us. Yeah, it was a survey company for the hospital. Yeah.
So my understanding is we need to get her to come down to your office, you get signed up for the SNAP, get signed up for,
Medicaid buy-in for workers. with
Medicaid buy-in.
disabilities. Yeah.
what else should we be getting her on?
Should she do a budget analysis through the waiver program? To see
I
how much
did
she's
do-
allowed to make?
I did do an analysis.
Did you do the analysis?
I did that, and it showed me what I can make with staying on SSI and like Medicaid and all that, but I haven't done it since I started working. And to help you understand, I started at 13 hours an hour. Now I'm up to 15, so I've not done it 15.30 now from $13. So
Yeah, she's been there 3.5 years.
Did you
now.
do it through Neon?
I believe it's what we did through. No, it wasn't through Neon, yeah.
Yeah, okay. They're the ones that usually do that.
So I'm gonna leave this with you, and my phone numbers are on the back of it. I can help you. You guys don't have to come up. You guys can call into the SNAP application over this phone number, and you can talk to them. They're gonna put you through directly into long-term care. If you guys have any issues or any other questions, you need to get in touch with the supervisor, you can feel free to give me a call, and I can either call you back or I can have our long-term care
Yeah,
supervisor
the only thing
call you
is,
back.
will they be okay with my parents helping me with it? 'Cause sometimes
Absolutely.
I've had
Is-
people not, because
is-
I'm my own guardian, that's the thing, is I like them to help me because sometimes I don't understand things,
Yep.
but I just wanna like kind of out to you
Even
that.
over the phone, as long as you're there and you're telling them that it's okay for them to talk to your parents, then that's fine.
Okay, like, I've had that with SSI, and it's
And you guys can do it on speakerphone, but doing the SNAP application over the phone is so much quicker because you can do e-signatures, you can get everything done right there. They're gonna explain to you exactly what you need to send in for that, and you guys can email it in. You don't even have to, that way you don't have to drive up. So,
like,
but
so
we
I
can do
know
it
it's a
over
weird
the phone.
question, but it's like, that's one of my, with that.
But my phone numbers are on the back here, so if you have any issues whatsoever, so I'll make sure you get this before we leave.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I'll get it, I don't wanna be on here.
You don't want to be on Facebook Live.
Okay, online question, and you actually said it, but it was mixed in with everything else you were talking about. Why can a person, individual, not get SNAP until they are 22?
It's just, I don't know it's just our policy. I can't exactly explain why that's a SNAP policy, but it is a state policy that kids under the
Even if they're living in
adults
a-
under the age of 22 are still
Even if they've
required.
been, what do you call it, emancipated? Or if they're living in a college and they don't even live at home?
If they don't live at home, then they can apply for SNAP before the age of 22.
Before the age of
It's
22.
only when they're living at home with parents, then they have to eat and prepare with parents.
Okay, so if Eric was actually renting a house, and I was just his provider going over and taking care of him, which a lot of our clients are.
Yeah.
Then he would qualify.
Yep.
Unless he was in a group home.
In a group home, because he's not living with parents, depending on if that group home provides meals and their fees, if the meals are part of the fees, then no, he wouldn't qualify for SNAP. But if they're responsible to provide their own food in that group home, then they can apply for SNAP.
What if they're only responsible for providing their own snacks, their own drinks
They
and stuff?
wouldn't be eligible
wouldn't be
then
eligible.
for SNAP,
Okay.
because they're basically paying room and board when they're living in a group home.
Okay, his social security does not even cover his living expenses, and he is 18. She's gonna have to message me. Cause again, we're talking about if you're over 18, you should be having them pay rent. And once they pay rent, then they're their own entity and the parent's income no longer counts.
If they are living in the same address as the parents and their income.
For food stamps, they do.
For food stamps.
This is for
Medicaid,
Social Security.
For Social Security, then no.
Yeah, this is a SSI question, yeah. So if they're over 18, they need to be paying you rent. They have to be declared no longer a part of your household. And then you should be getting the full amount, which is currently at $914, and it will be going up 3.2% in January.
Yeah.
So.
You got it down.
Oh, I got it down, babe. You don't know how many times I answered these questions online. So, can you think of anything else, Carol? So,
No, feel free to email me.
Have you-
call me.
had any more issues with the what we've been working on, patient liability?
I have heard from a few of your clients that have called me from other counties, and unfortunately, I really can't dig into their cases if they're from another county
Okay.
because it's unethical for me to do that. But I'm happy to share policy numbers, guidelines, share all that information. I do have those things handy now because I'm asked so often
Okay.
that I can just forward those through email so they have the actual policy numbers that show any adult that was on SSI up until they turned 18 or they went on to Social Security disability, as long as they were on SSI as a child, once they go to Social Security disability, that income should not count.
Right. They should not have a patient liability.
It should not count. They are considered grandfathered in, and
It's called the Pickle Amendment.
It is. The Pickle Amendment is correct.
What, no, what were you just saying?
Okay.
So any individual that was on SSI as a child, they stay on SSI until they are eligible for Social Security disability. So it could happen because a parent is deceased and they're receiving that parent's Social Security disability, or like your daughter is working and eventually going on Social Security disability. Once that happens, it's called the Pickle Amendment. There's policy that states that we also call them disabled adult children because they were on SSI prior. That new income guideline should not result in a patient liability. We still view it as SSI. So anyone that's on SSI income, there is no patient liability. There's
Never.
never.
Right.
So we continue to view it that way.
Carol and I have actually met with, what is she called? What's Emma called? LA, Legislative Administrator for Sherrod Brown. So we are trying to get in Sherrod Brown's office to get this corrected.
I was never on it.
Yeah, there's, and again, if you have people in your room, anybody that's calling and talking about that, I can give those guidelines, but I advise always
Right.
file a state hearing for anything that you disagree with, because they can go through that with you. And those state hearing officers, they're required to know those rules, and they do know those rules.
That's so
Yeah.
big.
Have you ever heard of a journeyman
Well, she's not voting.
with Social Security?
Like,
No.
I was never on it as a kid.
We had, you want to tell us kind of a little bit of that?
On it as a kid.
She's in a hurry, guys.
Yeah,
Her granddaughter's having a milk.
We went
We
through
need to
this,
go.
we went through the OSL not counting as income with the MAGI rule and all with somebody. And, they eventually got sent to, through Social Security. Social Security had to have a journeyman redo all of hers, and she ended up getting 6,000 something back because they should not have reduced the Social Security because of the OSL income. So,
And the same thing goes with Social Security. If you disagree with something they're doing, appeal their decision. I mean, oftentimes, I started my career doing Social Security disability working with people that were applying for Social Security, and 99% of the time, those first applications, they were denied. So appeal. File state hearings if you don't agree. That's what they're there for. And it's not because we're not training our workers. Medicaid, there's so many different Medicaid programs, it's literally impossible to learn every single role. We have Magi Medicaid, and we have our adult blind and disabled Medicaid, but there's literally 15 different types of programs within those, and different rules for each of those programs. I think there's something like, the last I counted, I thought there was like maybe 40 different programs for Medicaid, and all of them come with their own different rules and guidelines, and So it's a lot, so it's impossible for our workers to know all of that information.
Okay, so I have straight Medicaid for Eric, okay?
Mhm.
My friend down in she's not in Pickaway County, whatever his Angel is, has straight Medicaid. Okay, I can get my Medicaid, straight Medicaid, to pay for certain medical supplies. She contacted my same company that I get my supplies through. And down in her county, they said, no, your Medicaid will pay for that.
So our Medicaid, we have different managed care providers and different guidelines, I think. I would have her call the Medicaid hotline to find out specifically why.
Okay.
But I think it my opinion, my thought is that it kind of falls under how each county has their own managed care programs. So what we have here in Portage, they might not have in Summit, or they may not have in Hamilton, Franklin County. I know the big counties, Hamilton, Cincinnati, I think.
Because it was a situation for the bed pads.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something that simple, bed pads.
Yeah.
Trying to get it, and she can't get them from her county, and Franklin County, I gone.
Yeah.
Let's get these bed pads paid for. I mean, that's a,
I would call the
unfortunately, it's
Medicaid
enough.
hotline and specifically ask why, and if they continue to deny it, you can file a state hearing.
Okay.
Just because they're denying
I'll
a
let them
supply
know.
that we need, I mean, it's purely.
I'm surprised she's not on. But I think that was the only question I had online for you tonight. So, okay.
Well, it was a pleasure.